Yo and hello, everybody. Mike here with Bench Clear Media, baseball collector, chasing cardboard, etc. To left, my left, your right, I guess, is Mike Junkwax Hero. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Great. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me on.
Well, this is our show,
Yeah,
so
that's right.
I mean, you can say I can say thanks for having me on too, and that would be just as equally true,
Thanks. Thanks for being on with me.
right? uh, This is Hobby Think Tank, episode number 3. And again, the idea of this show is for two of us, there's 4 of us on the crew, and 2 of us to get together and talk about different hobby topics that we think certainly people talk about all the time. And this is a topic tonight, autographs, that you and I are both very passionate about. What about autographs, Mike, do you just love in the hobby?
I love just having something that it's not necessarily unique, but anybody can buy the card. But getting an autograph, especially an in-person autograph, is makes a card even more special to me. And I love the cards. Don't get me wrong. I collect cards. I have tons of non-autographed cards, but I think that the autograph, especially of Hall of Famers or players who are special to me, just adds a lot more to a card.
Yeah, and you and I share a passion for particularly Diamond Kings cards, but I know you
Okay.
like the Perez Steel postcards when they're signed, and that it just adds another dimension to it to me. I totally agree with you. I love getting Topps cards signed. In fact, I love getting any card signed. Who am I kidding? And it's funny, when I was a kid, getting Topps card signed was akin to ruining the card, you know, and that has changed completely 180 degrees. It's an incredibly popular part of our hobby now. And yet there's problems with it, right? Within the hobby.
Sure
And
are.
and I think the best way for us to tackle this idea in the 30 minutes that we have to do it is to look at both from a card manufacturer perspective and kind of some things that are there that maybe we have some suggestions for and how to improve. And then on the in person at shows or private signings kind of autographs, I think that would be just two aspects in the hobby, right? Where autographs are, you either pull them from a pack or you get them yourself, right? That's kind of the way it works.
Absolutely.
Uh, Controversy has abounded, especially recently in the last few months, of fake autographs, and we all know the Randy Rosarina, Austin Meadows story of basically a 12. It looks like a 12-year-old signed both their autographs on their dual signed definitive cards, right?
Looks like I signed them.
Right,
Terrible handwriting.
terrible handwriting, and you know the challenges that these card manufacturers face. We in the hobby, I think, and this doesn't mean everyone in the hobby, but I think in general, I see a lot of people saying they only have one thing to do and they can't do that right. Or, do you think it's fair to lay all the blame on the card manufacturers?
Fair? I don't know. I don't think it's fair necessarily. They're cutting their costs because the, they have a maximum amount they can charge for an autograph, what the market will allow, and so they do what they are able to do to get an autograph on a card. And in some cases, like the Arozarena, they didn't witness it, right? The Austin Meadows Arozarena. So is that their fault? Probably. Should they hold Arozarena or Austin Meadows responsible for that? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is. Something we can discuss.
Well, if you hold the players responsible, like, look, they have a contract with the manufacturer, and that can be Tops, Panini, Leaf, right? Name your place. There's a contract in place. They've signed a deal to sign X number of autographs, whether it be on card or sticker. The whole sticker autograph, we've got to get into that too.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
but to me, these players have signed a deal. They need to honor that. That's how I look at it from an incredibly simplistic view, mind you.
Absolutely. They in and if these players are signing that, I'm going to get I'll sign 500 cards for $50 each, for instance. then they should be doing that. Not only should they be doing it and not having a representative do it, they should do at least a reasonable autograph and not just a scribble or one initial or something like that, which is another thing that maybe we could discuss. I don't know if we're going to have time for all these things.
Well, the quick story I'll tell you. Have you seen Harmon Killeber's autograph before? Do you know what it looks like?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
it's typically, not always, but typically pretty legible, and a very well done autograph. And one time, Michael Kadire, former Twins player, was with him at a Twins Fest or somewhere. They were signing together, and Killebrew was starting to kind of basically give him crap for his sloppy signature. And he's like, "Well, I'm signing all these things," and Killebrew gave him a great quote. And I'm not going to get it perfect, but Killebrew's point was, "Hey, this might be the first autograph this person's ever gotten, and why would you want to give him not the best autograph you can get?" So it really changed Kadire's perspective on it, and he started signing his autographs very uh, legibly and just really good. He took pride in it, right? And these players today don't take pride. I mean, you see initials and letters and scribbles and things that are the farthest thing from legible or even remotely close to their name, right? And so that, I don't know how you fix that. You can't instill pride in someone in doing something the right way. But honestly, I have two different signatures. I have a quick signature, and then I have a more, formal signature when I'm signing a important document or something like that. So I get it. I have two signatures too, but they look very similar, and you can read both of them still, ironically. Um,
I have one signature. I used to have a nicer one, but when my kids were born and I didn't have time, I just learned to kind of scribble it.
yeah, I always practiced because I always thought I was going to be a major leaguer, and I wanted to be able to sign. I
Me
was
too.
waiting for that first time someone would ask me to sign something. No one ever did because
Me neither.
I didn't make it that far. But I do. I think there is some responsibility of the players. I think that'll actually get better now, given that they are part of the MLBPA, and all these players associations are part of the agreement with Tops. They make more money, um, or they will make a piece of the money that is made in the card industry. So you would hope this probably actually won't happen, but you would hope they would kind of get onto their guys like, "Hey, this isn't a very good product here we're putting out in terms of our autographs," but probably wishful thinking on my part.
Yeah, I think that the PA has been involved in it for a long time, and we're still seeing a pretty steady degradation in quality of autographs.
So if we can't make the players sign them better, we can at least make them sign them, right? I mean, you had
Absolutely, yes.
Dak Prescott and Luca, these big players. I just know about those, just thinking of players off the top of my head that either used auto pens or other people signing for them, or hey, the
Lulu,
clubhouse guy signs. What's that?
Luca. So, always said. Did you say
What'd you say?
Luca? Are you
Yeah,
not able to
Luca.
hear? Yeah. His always looks like Lulu. It's kind of iconic now.
Right. Right. I mean, I just, oh gosh, so many issues. But to me, if you witness it, to me, an easy solution, I shouldn't say easy, the solution is to have all autographs witnessed by a representative from the manufacturer.
And they claim that they are, right? If you look at a Topps card or a Panini card, I believe that they all say this was witnessed or signed
In the presence of,
in the
yeah.
presence of, yeah. But we know from various videos like Phil Hughes, who opened a package of them on his channel, signed them and mailed them back. There was nobody there witnessing it. There was no, he obviously did it on camera, but he said that wasn't required. I think he showed, it's been probably a year since I watched the video, but he showed the requirements. And if I remember correctly, there was no requirement to take a picture of or video of himself signing it. Now, Brian Gray on a Leaf always takes pictures of his signers, which comes in handy when they sue him later on. But it's, yeah, I think that they have a problem where thanks to COVID, probably. I don't know if it was happening before COVID. They had to mail cards to signers, and then how much does it cost to get a video back from them, from that signer? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's the middle ground. Like, hey, to fulfill your part of the contract, maybe as they sign new contracts, like you need to video yourself signing these and email us or upload to this website, whether some type of shared drive, upload to this website. Here's the URL, your video of you signing these cards so that we have proof that you did it.
Yeah, or have them do one signature witnessed in front of a Topps representative, just one signature, and then say, your signatures have to look like reasonably like this, even if you're mailing them back to us.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, if you're Topps or if you're any of the manufacturers, having representatives at all these, I mean, think about how many different players sign for them every year. It's hundreds and hundreds across all the sports.
Yep.
Thousands, probably,
Thousands,
honestly.
yeah.
How can you possibly have somebody there? Talk about, you got to fly somebody there, and where are they going to sign them and when? And, you have to schedule this thing. And these guys are busy. I'm not doubting that. I'm not saying they're not. They might do it at, 10 at night. Hey, I'm going to sign for an hour and see how many of these I can knock out, before I go to bed. It's just, it's a difficult ask to get the manufacturers to say you got to have somebody at every signing. But I do like the video idea. I do like the, hey, when you're doing this video, set your camera up. It can be on right here. Just set your phone up and video yourself doing it. Everybody has that ability.
Yeah, if Topps or Fanatics or whoever has an office in New York City, they could just bring in athletes as they go into New York City and have them sign when they're in town. Just make sure you have a schedule. You say, okay, Randy Rosarena is coming into town on January 19th at 4 p.m. Have his cards ready, plop them down in the room, have him sign. That would be a pretty big operation, but it would be really trustworthy.
Or going to the, work with the Yankees, work with the Mets, or wherever you're located, right? Work with the local teams to say, hey, we need a conference room. All the stadiums now have, office space and or a suite. Just let me use a suite pregame, just to have these, I think there are ways to do it. And if at the time you even, I'm not as big of a hater on stickers as some people I think are. I don't like it. I'd prefer everything to be on card, but I understand you might want to, what's the word? Not catalog, but just have a supply, I guess, of a certain player's autograph that you could use on future cards, that are definitely authentic. So you have them sign a bunch of sheets of stickers for some future issue. I remember Gary Carter, Duke Snyder, Stan Musial, players that died years before, and they were still issuing sticker autographs into products years after they had died. Ralph
That's
Kiner.
Fascinating. Yeah. I get why they do sticker autographs, but I hate it. I think they look terrible on a card.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think anybody would argue that that's true. They would I think everybody would prefer, nobody's going, oh, I want a sticker auto, but if it got to where that was, if you had nothing or a sticker auto, would you still choose nothing?
No, I'd take the sticker auto. Like I have a Sean Kemp sticker auto because I had loved Sean Kemp as a kid, and I pulled it out of pack, and I've pulled other sticker autos and I've sold them. But that one I kept because I loved Sean Kemp.
Yeah, I have a ton of sticker autos in my collection overall, but I do obviously prefer in-person stuff. So any other card manufacturer stuff we want to discuss? Redemptions? You want to talk about redemptions?
Yeah. I'm good with redemptions. I know that they're wildly unpopular, but I think largely because they take so long, especially with Panini. Some people have been waiting years and years and years for their redemptions, and sometimes the Panini will come back and say, "We know you wanted the Shohei Ohtani redemption that you pulled in a pack, but we're going to give you a Austin Meadows autograph instead. And that's not equitable.
Yeah, it doesn't seem very fair. They don't they don't want redemptions. If the card manufacturers had their way, they wouldn't have any redemptions. Unfortunately, you've got typically either scheduling conflicts, and I've heard this directly from the manufacturer. So this is coming from the source. This isn't me speculating on how they feel about this. This is legit from them. Very high up people, and they don't like it any more than we do. But here's the thing. Here's the rub. Let's say you have a player that you just can't, you haven't gotten back. You sent them the cards, you gave them a deadline, they haven't mailed them back. What are you supposed to do? Go over and, even, and they have a contract, and you're like, look, if we piss this guy off, he'll never sign them. We'll never get them back. It's really the players really have the card manufacturers by the short and curlies, because if they say no, or they press, then they never get the cards back, or they piss the player off and they don't re-sign with them to do the next sequence of cards or whatever. Or the worst scenario, and what they're really afraid of, is you piss off the wrong guy and they go tell all their buddies, and then they have no autographs because the whole team has decided, well, screw them. It's not worth it anyway, or whatever, or they can't pay us enough. And we're just, we make millions of dollars. What do we need? A few thousand or 10,000 more, big hairy deal. That's why you see usually redemptions are big time players. Like I know in this year's 5-star, for example, redemptions are Cal Ripken Jr., Julio Rodriguez, very popular players are the redemptions. And you're not going to piss off Julio Rodriguez. You need him to sign for the next decade. Right?
At least.
Yeah. Right. So you don't want to piss off Cal Ripken Jr. because he's a staple, a popular player in any product that you put him in. So I get it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Around a year ago, I think, one of the manufacturers sued one of their signers because he wasn't returning. I think it was a football player, if I remember correctly. And, they had sent a lot of warnings to him saying, you owe us all these autographs. And he just kept ignoring them, but they filed lawsuit against him, and he returned them within 10 days. I can't remember who it was. Do you remember who that was? I
can't either. I know what you're talking about, and I'm sure somebody in the comments will remind us of who that was.
But I remember when that happened, a lot of people were saying, well, they should sue LaMelo Ball too, because LaMelo Ball had redemptions for 2 years without signing any autographs, and people were waiting for a couple of years, and he just wouldn't sign. But that's another interesting one, kind of like Julio Rodriguez, LaMelo Ball, a superstar basketball player, and just never. I think he's signed some now, but yeah, what do you do when Julio Rodriguez doesn't sign anything? You don't sue him, like you said.
Yeah, why would you risk everything for one guy? And yes, it's unfortunate. Nobody likes to pull a redemption because like you said, you either don't know if you're going to get it back at all or how long it's going to take. If you get replacements, it's, probably not going to be an equitable deal. But I can assure you that the card companies don't want it either.
They would probably need the Players Association sign off to sue a player, right? If you're going to sue a player, you're probably going to upset the Players Association.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a delicate thing. I mean, if you think about the ramifications of, again, upsetting the wrong person, it can have a trickle down effect that you would not be happy with the end result.
Yeah.
So I think they end up, again, having to just take it. Like, well, damn it, that sucks. But what are we going to do? And that's why you see, I think, a lot more rookies and guys that money does matter. Whatever it is they're getting paid to sign is more significant than Mike Trout. Mike Trout doesn't need the money.
Yeah,
right?
I've always thought about that. Like, why is Mike Trout signing for, I don't know, $150 an autograph? He doesn't need that money. Is it just like play money for him, or is he doing it for the fans?
Well, as you know, a lot of TTM, especially the old school guys, through the mail autographs, if you mail to a Hall of Famer or a player or whatever, and they request money, it's typically for a charity. What do you got there?
This is Yaz, Fisk, Boggs
There you go.
through the mail, triple auto. Yeah, a lot of them do charity money. Some of them don't, but
Right.
I know Fisk definitely does.
Yeah.
All of
So,
you write the check out to the charity, but some of these guys, if you write a check out to their charity, they'll write back and say cash only.
right. But a lot of them do it for charity. I mean, there's no question that they're just doing it because, okay, I'll sign my name. I'll sit down for an hour every day or whatever it is, knowing that that money is going to go to a good cause that
Yep,
they're supporting. And I actually like it better sending TTM money for a charity. I feel better about it.
100%.
I don't know
Yeah,
why. Okay, that's cool. Good. I get an autograph and that I'd love, and I get to support something that's near and dear to that player's heart. So I happily do it, and I happily pay cash for through the mail autographs too. But another situation that I think is interesting that I think has its own issues is getting autographs at shows from players. And I know you don't have a ton of experience with this, Mike. I do. And it feels like the players are just getting more and more expensive to get signatures in person at a show. It, even we'll call them lower level type players are 50, 60, $80. And the players have gotten really smart because sorry, I keep giving the players all the credit. The promoters,
yep,
right? Or the handlers for the players, whoever that is, they all have people that help them coordinate all this stuff, right? And they just show up and start signing their name. And I have a lot of insight into this too because I have friends that work in this industry, close friends, and talking to them, yeah, they just get told what to do. Basically, show up here, and their handlers are, well, no, that's over. They usually do a piece count. They'll do a number of autographs. They're signed up to be there for. It's either piece count or time limit, right?
yep.
And so, but the public is paying a price. Let's say you're paying $80 for Edgar Martinez, which is, I think, what he was when I got his signature at the Chantilly show last October. So Martinez is only seeing maybe $30 of that at the end of the
Wow,
day.
I would have thought it would be higher than that.
No, everybody takes their cut. The show takes their cut. Their agent takes a cut. There's people all picking their pockets, and taking little chunks out of that. And to get an inscription, it's a little bit more. To get it done on a premium item, it's more. And again, a lot of the promoters have gotten smart. And if to sign a rookie card, it's a premium
Yep,
because that's what everybody wants to do is get the rookie card signed. And so you'll see a lot of players have different pricing for rookie cards versus a regular Topps card or any card for that matter. And you don't see a lot of current players signing. It's typically retired guys, right? You're
yep.
never not really, even if it's in that teams or sports off season, you're usually going to see the retired guys, and it's because they probably like being in. I look at it as they probably like having the attention, being in the limelight again.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of the older guys just didn't make a whole lot of money either
Right.
before the 80s. So you look at somebody like Orlando Cepeda, probably didn't make a whole lot of money in his career. So he's
But if he can
I-
go for 3 hours and all the their way is paid, their hotels are all paid for, like all that's included. And if they can get 30, 50 grand to go spend, a couple hours signing their name, sure. Right. That's good money.
yeah. And something that you pointed out when you and I talked a couple weeks ago is that a lot of times you can buy an autographed card slabbed and authenticated by PSA DNA for cheaper than what you pay for the signature at a private signing, which is really fascinating to me and something that I've thought a lot about. I think that when you want to go to a private signing, you have to have something special to you in order to make it work, in order to make the investment or the price make sense. and I know you do custom cards for signatures. That makes sense.
It's the only way to do it. They're not out there on the secondary market. But if you're
Yep.
getting Mariano Rivera's autograph, for example, I know that's one I think I brought up to you.
Yep.
I got a 92 Bowman Mariano Rivera signed, slabbed, graded, all that stuff for about half of what his private, or his public signing cost is.
Yeah.
So
So I love Ricky Henderson, and this is his pre-rookie card, 1979 TCMA, which when it's autographed, it's worth a lot of money, especially in the condition like this one. Private signing, he charges I think 80 or maybe $100. Makes it worth it when you can take the card, and I'm not planning on selling it, but I can't buy it for under 150. I actually can't buy it for under $300 or $400. So it makes sense to send that card off to a private signing.
yeah, it's simply doing the math. I did at the National. I bought a '93 SP Jeter signed Hall
Yep.
of Fame inscription, and it was a lot of money. Like, I can't remember. I remember in the video I put it on there, but it was already slabbed, already graded. The auto was a 10, you know, and it's a iconic card. And what I did to make that work in my brain was I went, okay, is if I add up, Jeter is like 1,600 for a private sign or for a,
It's
he does private signings. It's a lot, right? It's stupid,
yeah.
like stupid expensive. And when you add up the cost of the card and then to get it graded, and then, man, does it even come out a 10? Does it come out the way you want? All these things, right? Go bing, bing, bing down the
Yep.
line. It was way cheaper for me just to buy it that way.
Yep.
Already done. No fuss, no muss, right? Done.
Yep.
And even if it was more, how much more does it have to be? There are times, like you said, when, like the Henderson that you're talking about, it's worth you doing that and going through the steps yourself. But I think if you really think about it, and there's times I get the idea of wanting to meet the player and take a picture with them, and if he's a childhood hero or whatever, if Sean Kemp was signing autographs, you'd want to. I'll pay a little more to get to meet him and shake his hand, and right there
Sure.
is some value to that.
Yep.
But for most people, there's just not. But like you said, I think it is super critical where it makes sense if you're doing something that's unique, a unique type item, a special type thing for you. If you have a jersey of a player that you've had that jersey forever, and you get a chance to get him, you can't just go buy that, right?
Yeah.
You have to pay up. David Ortiz is signing at the TriStar show in February, and he's $200.
Hmm.
And I'm like, nope. Like, I have a custom thing I want signed by him, and that's even too much. Like, I'm just going, nope. Now, will I change my mind down the road someday? Maybe.
Yeah, his
But
prices will come down too.
yeah, especially, things to be aware of if you're out there is once a player is inducted in the Hall of Fame, their prices go up. They double basically overnight.
Yep.
And that becomes kind of a new normal for that player. But I think one thing they could do better is, you know, keep the cost reasonable. In their, supply and demand, right? If you said, okay, I'll charge a little bit less and more people will do it, will you get more money overall? Like, at
Yep.
the end of the day, I want to make as much money as I can in this time that I have this player. There's got to be some cost benefit analysis that's done to say, okay, if we charge a little bit less, we'd get 50 more people that want to do it. If
Yeah.
it's $10 cheaper, I don't know how they do that. I'd love to know that. I actually know some people I might could find that out from. But how do they price their autographs? Where do they come up with this person? Or I'm going to charge this, or I'm going to charge some other amount,
Yeah.
because some of
It's
them are
really good.
reasonable,
Yeah. Well, you can get a Pete Rose autograph for almost nothing now.
right?
They're everywhere. Yeah, I think that they have to make it worth the player's time, obviously. I'm not saying anything brilliant there. And to make it worth the player's time, they have to pay up, and that means charging more for the autograph. But they're also not getting a whole lot of time with the player. And so they get fewer autographs. And so there's that supply part of that equation.
Yeah, I just I guess I'm just being like, man, I just wish it was a little bit cheaper, you know? And I'm not even saying drastically cheaper, but I mean, I have old pamphlets from shows when Mantle was, 20 bucks at a show to get a
Wow.
Mantle. I wish I could go back in time and have him sign every scrap of paper I could put in front of him.
That must have been before Upper Deck got their hands on him in, what, 1990 or so?
It was before that.
Yeah.
We're talking 80s.
Yeah.
That's when that he started it. Like he was kind of one of the pioneers in um, like putting himself out there to be an autograph, at shows, and oh, we can make some extra money doing this. Let's do that. You know, uh, he was one of the first, and Willie Mays, Aaron Williams, DiMaggio, all of them did it back in the day. They were
Yep.
very common at shows.
Well, Mantle autographs are still very common, but there's also a huge demand for them, so they're still very expensive.
Right. Well, I don't know if we solved any of the world's problems today, but we talked through some things. And again, one of the best things about this show is we'd love to hear your comments down below, what you think could be done to improve either of those sides of the autograph world, whether it's card manufacturers or signings in person at shows and etc. So, any final thoughts, Mike?
No, I'd love to get some more autographs, especially non-sticker. Love
It's
autographs.
funny, autographs, like there are guys out there that I only want one of each player, and I get that, right? I'm more of I want every Diamond King card signed. I want Perez Steels. I want Tops cards. I just love accumulating them. I mean, I don't know, 40 Brooks Robinsons. I don't need 40 Brooks Robinson autographs, but I have them and I love every one of them, and
Yeah.
in different sets and 5 stars and 2001 Fleer Greats of the Game. I mean, I'm going through my autograph, tons of autograph projects that I just enjoy doing. And I love the autograph. I love the idea of what that signifies, and the player having interacted with that card in some way feels special to me. And maybe I'm just being sentimental and silly, but that's why I
That's
love it.
part of it, though. Sentimentality and silliness. I love it.
We just defined the hobby in general, didn't we?
New name for this show: sentimentality and silliness.
Well, thanks everybody for watching this episode of Hobby Think Tank. We'll be back with you with another episode next week. Not necessarily we will be back with you, but Hobby Think Tank will be back next week with another episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Keep collecting.